Hello and good morning. I wonder what a wonderful, blessed morning it is. It is a little chilly. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit, tad bit cold, but I do have my short side. So maybe it's my own fault. Oh man. Woke up pretty early. It was an interesting night. But welcome. I am Life in Bouquet, and this is, I believe, my 7th video. I think 6th or 7th. And today we are going to talk about something that is popping right now. I guess it's been popping since the beginning of time, but we're seeing it more and more since all we see is what's on the news, and that is money. So money is what we use to buy whatever we want, right? It is used as a symbol of power. Of people say that it is privilege, and I would say that yes, it is privilege. Like I've said before, privilege is not bad. It is what you do with that privilege that determines how you would be seen as a person and how you see yourself as a person, what you do with those things. So, a little bit of background with me. I grew up with no money at all. Zip, no money. I think I told you a little bit about myself in the, may have been the 2nd video or the 4th video. Can't remember, but I am a first-generation American. My family was from Mexico. I don't know my biological father. I believe he was from Puerto Rico, from what I was told. And I am one of 6. My mother was very hardworking growing up. When she came over, she immediately started to work from pretty much age 18. Maybe even younger than that. I think that she graduated high school, but I'm not too sure. So she has worked her butt off. She ended up becoming a apartment manager, so we were able to stay in that apartment for a while, pretty much rent-free, and we did that for quite a while. I grew up sharing a bedroom with 3 brothers. We dealt with physical abuse, emotional abuse, and pretty much no stable footing when it came to money. The only thing I was really told as a young boy all the time was to make sure my credit was good. I was always told that from a young age, and I took that advice, and hearing how credit is so important in today's society. Some people would say you pay for everything in cash, but credit is extremely important to establish, and then you can go and start using cash for pretty much everything, if you're responsible. So these challenges that I was presented made me always want to get money. I always wanted to sell things. I always wanted to try to get money any way I really could. And I think my mother could see that. So when she took us out of where we were at, which was pretty much the projects where I'm at, once we got out of there and she saw that I was trying to make money, she did not want me to go down the path of selling drugs or doing anything like that. So I thank my mom, now for getting me out of that environment, because I'm sure that's probably what I would have ended up doing. But I always wanted to try to get money, and I remember I told myself that, if I could go back, I wish I could have, I could have saved all the money that I spent on random things like, cards and other things, because I've spent so much money on whether it be Pokemon cards or video games or whatever it may have been. If I just would have had a man in my life, missing my father, then maybe I could have had a better outlook on dealing with money. Now, the reason I say that is because I want to say, most men, statistically, managing money is something that we see it in a logical way, so we're able to kind of, I guess, break it down better. Like I said, I'm one of 6, and I can tell you that I probably did it the best way out of all of my brothers and sisters. So I moved out when I was 18, and I saved up my money. I didn't spend a thing. The first time I got my apartment when I was 18 was I was going to college, and me and my mother had differences that pretty much led us to an argument, and I was trying to do my own thing and trying to just go to school and be I wanted to be a physical therapist, and I did not have time to focus on a lot of the things that she wanted me to focus on. And I feel like it's like any other kid, right? So I ended up getting into an argument, and she kicked me out of the house. I went over to the man who I call my dad. I went over to his house. He was somebody that raised me like periodically throughout my life, and he's remained in my life nowadays, and he's the father of my other brothers and sisters. So I noticed with him, he was always a hard worker, but he had really bad tendencies to be a drunk, and I saw him kind of spend his money a little frivolously. So he wasn't the best example, but I kind of had this like stable ground because he would actually pay me little bits of money to do things for him. So I went over to his place, and he needed some manual labor. So pretty much for about a month and a half, I saved up every bit I possibly could. I wasn't eating like hardly anything, and I was a really, really hardworking guy. So I went and within that month and a half, I got approved for an apartment. I literally had nothing to my name other than a full-size mattress and a Spider-Man blanket. I remember it. It was like a big old kind of like soft quilt. It was something that I had from I think like a while back. I think my dad had actually bought it. So I literally was sleeping in my room, and I remember sitting there crying once I finally got everything, and I felt I was on my own in this wonderful apartment, and I had like nothing to my name. I mean, literally like nothing to my name. And whenever I started to branch out and do my own thing, I continued on the path of like physical labor for a little bit, doing manual things, and just doing like being kind of a bit of a groundskeeper for a little bit, and doing some contracting work here and there for like painting and stuff. I ended up becoming a personal trainer, and from there I was able to start making more money. I was able to save up more and more, and then I ended up joining the military about maybe a year and a half later. So from that point on, when I joined the military, being able to get that money and really have it, have like a foundational source of income, it gave me a lot of confidence. And I think that a lot of men out there, I'm not telling you to go just join the military, but I'm telling you that it is an option, and that me personally, I joined to be something more. But there are a lot of people who just join for the benefits, and they're really good benefits. There's a lot of positivity and things that I think go into dealing with a lot of that, dealing with those issues. Like I said in my other videos, I think every one of us on this planet goes through mental health problems. I think that there are things, whether it be just momentary depression, anxiety, panic disorders, and things like that. Everyone goes through it in some way. Obviously, there are individuals who have it, whose brains are actually a little bit more messed up, like myself. Like I said before, I've had a traumatic brain injury, and I deal with PTSD, MDD, and panic disorder. So there are some of us who have it a little bit worse, and we need help in different ways, which is okay, but we have to understand that these things happen to a lot of different people. So if you're thinking about joining up or doing a job that might be hard or might require something of you, that's kind of the fundamentals of society and the world. Like, imagine if today was like the past with like cavemen. You would have people killing each other in the streets. You would have people fighting over everything. You would have individuals. It would essentially be survival of the fittest, because that's how it was back then, right? You would have, if we base it off of science, then if we went by that notion, we would have to do the whole like kill or be killed. Now, we're not like that anymore, and we're trying to become more than animals, right? We're trying to live together and coexist on this planet. Now, when you're looking at, I'm looking down at some of my notes, and I just thought of something that branches off that I'll get into in just a minute. But when you're looking at what we are as capitalists in America, and around the world, our ideas of money are I feel like one of the closest things you can get to in an unperfect world. The idea behind the capitalist notion is that essentially the harder you work and the more you put into yourself and into your work, of whatever it may be, whether you have any job, whatever you do that makes you money, your wealth and your overall amount as a person is based on how hard you work. So whatever money you make is your money because you have labored for it, and you deserve it, right? Now, we have the other side of things where you think of like socialism or communism. And we've seen actual societies in the past, in history, that have used socialism and used communism to their advantage, because this world is not perfect. I think that's one of the biggest things that we don't understand as humans, is that this world is not perfect. It is not. And biblically, if you want to go back and you believe in Adam and Eve, they're the ones who literally messed it up for everybody. They're the ones who wanted knowledge. They didn't want the wisdom of God. They wanted the knowledge of the world. So this world is not perfect, and you cannot have socialism unless the world is perfect. You literally would have to have no evil. You would have to have people not wanting more. You would have to have people, you would have to take away the idea of God, and that's probably number one. Because God tells you to not favor the poor. And the reason I say that, and the reason like we're talking, he says that, is that you do not, I think I wrote it down in my notes. Let's see right here. It says, do not favor the poor in judgment. That's where we're at. Do not favor the poor in judgment. Now, looking at that statement, this is where you have to look at biblical text yourself. God favors life and favors good. So when we talk about who the poor are and who they could be, I want you to think about this. When and if you were poor, and you can comment below, did you not want to do whatever you could to get money? Like, that's a real question. Because I know when I was very poor and I was young, I wanted to steal because I didn't have what I wanted. I wanted to take from other people, and more than just stealing, I wanted to have what they have. It was like a form of just being, envious. And I feel like a lot of that does come natural with, obviously, you just being a kid. And those are things that you have to be taught. But do you see how when you don't have God in your life, and if, say, you stay in those environments, how you can essentially believe that forever? That in order for you to become successful, that you have to take it from somebody else. And that's the idea behind, like, communism and Marxism, socialism, all those things, like all the isms. You literally have to take away from everybody. Now, here is my personal opinion on money. That was what I was explaining, was in a sense a biblical way of looking at it, or how we can look at it together. Now, this is what I personally believe. Like I said, growing up with nothing, and now having pretty much, I have zero debt other than my house. I pay no taxes because I'm a disabled veteran. I literally make nothing but profit from my retirement, and I have enough money to last me pretty much until the day I die. Like I said in I think my last video, I had everything, and I was still so depressed. I still felt suicidal, and I still felt lost until I found God. Now, when I wasn't with God, what I was doing was I was wasting my money. Like I said, I spent money on cars. I spent money at the clubs. I spent trying to impress my friends. I did stupid stuff that a fool would do. I was spending money on games that I would just buy them to try them, and then I would never play them. I was just doing whatever I wanted with it, and what I noticed is that really you don't need all this money to be truly happy. When we look at, like, billionaires and millionaires who have yachts and multiple homes and a lot of different things, people always say, well, if you took away that incentive for them to do better, then they wouldn't do better, right? Then they're not going to do more than what they've already done. They would just stop doing what they're doing, right? Well, that's not really true. And I think a lot of people say that without thinking about it from a true business aspect, because at the end of the day, what money you make, like, you're going to have to continue to make it. If the rich person spends their money, right, which they're going to spend their money, they need to continue to make money. So if you just said that they're going to stop doing anything that they're going to do, or you want to say that they're just going to cut out growth, it's almost like they say that because they want people, because they know that people aren't as rich as them. There's not that many people who are actually as rich as them. They want you to say that to make you think that they won't keep working. You're going to keep working because you want your money. And now, the idea behind maybe expanding, not having enough, like, revenue to put into your business, if you actually put it into your business, you would actually put it into your employees, into the infrastructure of your business. Not going to buy a boat that is worth $10 million or $100 million in some case. Not buying multiple homes, buying islands, buying things that are totally out of the realm of normal people's budget. You would not need to buy a Bugatti that costs $10 million or $1 million. You can actually be happy, and this is based on research and statistics, you can actually be happy on a medium household income from anywhere from $65,000 to $75,000. Now, maybe in today's society, since inflation's happening right now, you could bump it up to say, I want to say maybe $70,000 to $80,000. Like, I mean, there hasn't been a gigantic spike in inflation, and that's where I think we're getting it all kind of twisted, man. You see people out there who are talking about, in order for you to be a high valued person, that you need to be making over, $100,000, that you need to be making over, some people are talking about 6 and 7 figure incomes. That's just insane. That's really crazy. If you're a responsible person with your money, you can actually go really far not making a ton of money. I mean, I was only making in the first few years of my life, even when I was in the military, I was only making like 35,000, 39,000 maybe, in that area, and I was saving my money. I was able to spend it on what I wanted to. So now where I'm at, I've been able to start from there and move on up now with my retirement and things like that. That's blessings from God. What can I say? I mean, there's no other way for me to explain it other than I was able to retire at the age of 26, making over right now $75,000, $80,000 a year, and I am living wonderfully. I'm living large. I'm living what I thought I would never live. So for people who talk about making all this money, man, I don't think people really realize how much individuals, make. Like, we've gotten money so twisted, man. There are third world countries, our neighbors, just Mexico, man. Look at that. They are willing to smuggle people, sell drugs, and do whatever they can for money. People are willing to buy other human beings and do things for money. Money is such a momentary thing. I feel like God, there's a scripture, I can't remember it right off the top of my head, but it talks about how God will provide. You know how many moments there's been in my life that I thought, man, I'm going to be broke. Like, I had $1 left, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to make it. And you hear those stories from, like, I've heard of The Rock stories where, The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, he talks about, he only had like $7 or $8 in his pocket when he first started his push, and hey, I was in the same boat. You out there who know what I'm talking about, y'all been through it, man. That's our struggle. That's God's way of showing you cannot go through this life without having that struggle. Money is the number one cause in divorces. To think that you have people giving up their marriages, the people that they love and felt so much emotion for at some time, for money, or that, in a lot of cases, what we see nowadays is people selling themselves for money, for on OnlyFans and on different websites, exploiting themselves. That stuff is just wrong in society. Like, guys, like I've said before, I've been with multiple women, and I can understand and enjoy sex and appreciate it for what it is, but I do think that realistically, if you go and you do those things and you're doing it for money, man, you have definitely sunk to the lowest low that you can possibly go. You have literally gotten to a point that you are degrading yourself by asking people for money to look at your flesh. and there's hypocrisy behind all that, because some people would say that money is a kind of for flesh kind of business, because everything, even credit cards, you look at credit cards and they always talk about, in order for you to receive your benefits, that means that there are other people out there who are essentially defaulting on their debts that they owe. So it's supposed to make you feel bad for freaking owning a credit card, because it's based off of for somebody else's suffering, you get money. So, and I'm not saying to not get credit cards. I have the gold and the platinum cards through American Express, and I have kept up with my credit, and that was one thing that I took from my mother, to understand that it was extremely important. These are things that aren't being taught in school, that we've always said should be taught in school. These are things that you can learn from many different people. Learn how to use your money the right way. Learn how to not blow it, and learn how to use it in a good way. And understand that you having money is not a bad thing, but also that you should not spend your money on gigantic, lavish things. It is not freaking worth it. It is, why spend that kind of money when you can literally help other people, right? You can literally help individuals, and you can still live like a king. You can still live like a freaking king. You can live like a queen. You can do so much with the money that you're getting. You just got to take you got to take less. I don't even want to say a little less. Sometimes you got to take a lot less if you want to try to help the people around you. People always quit their jobs because they're like, oh, I'm not getting paid enough for the amount of stuff I'm doing, or this is not worth, there's a monetary value to your stress levels, right? So what are you willing to take for money, right? And that's the idea behind, if you have so much money, then you have the ability to buy people's time and buy people's stress. That's why you see so many rich men who have so many women around them. Those women are people who are bought through their money. Same thing, you're looking at it from the outside perspective of what we've kind of been brainwashed into thinking, that sex is king, money's king, all these other things are king, and God's not king, right? Why look at God, man? F that dude. Why should we respect him at all? But really, that's what you should be looking at. You should be seeing that it's good to give to the poor, to help them, because back then, you got to think about it. Back then, there were so many poor people. You were a society. You actually talked to other people. You actually talked to your neighbor. You actually knew who people were. Nowadays, you don't. You go from your car from point A to point B. You don't say anything to anybody. Our societies have changed, right? So now, in this day and age, it's up to you to be able to donate your time and your money to what you believe is the good cause. We've seen it in so many, people leave the churches because they're like, oh, these people are corrupt. And that's why I left the church. That's why I stopped looking for the church for answers, and why I went to biblical scripture and tried to read. When, the church is not bad, because obviously God tells you to treat the church, or to have the church be for the poor and have them be for the individuals who need help. But nowadays, man, I just see churches spending money on football fields and their own little facilities for themselves. Hey guys, sorry about that. Had the camera have a little bit of recording issues. I was talking about how the church spends their money. I want to say that, like I said, there are different churches who spend their money in different ways, and I don't want to badmouth. I don't want to badmouth everything, because it's not perfect. But understand that people in the church are not perfect as well, and that you can choose how you treat other people and what you do. You can't choose what they do. But what I wanted to do was kind of wrap up the video and tell you that at the end of the day, you just need to try to do good with your money. You just need to try to do more with it than just for yourself. It is okay to have a nice house. Like I don't know if I had said this in the other little segment of my video, but it's okay to have nice things, but don't live in excess. Don't do it. It doesn't make you happy. And also, if you're doing bad things to get your money, remember that in the Bible it says that the wicked will go far with their wickedness, and that they will be handled in accordance. So you can go far with it, but understand that you will pay for it. And know that you deep down are never going to be happy. Money helps you find a little bit of insight on what you think happiness could be. So, at the end of the day, the world isn't perfect, and you got to do what you got to do in order to try to move forward in this world. But I implore you to try to find God. Look for Him, and you will find Him. And know that for the people out there who think that you can just continuously make money and you believe in 100% true capitalism, I really want you to look at the Pandora Papers that just came out and see that there are billionaires who have hundreds of millions, and if not billions, hidden away from the world because they don't want you to have it. They don't want to share. They want to continue to line their pockets and line the people's pockets below them in our societies. Know that money is the root of all evil, and that in order for you to find happiness in this life, you need to see through that. So guys, I want everyone to have a great and awesome day, and to know that I try to preach positivity and try to say good things to you based on my ideas of a human man and a man who believes in God as well. And know that, I understand that you may have problems, but so does everyone on this earth. We all have problems, and a lot of us deal with the same exact ones. So have a great day, and come join me next time for my next video.